Lecture Social Structural Functionalism Part 1 by Reverend Darlena Pagan. Title: The 3 Steps to Social Structural Functionalism. Subtitle: Providing description of the simple, basic and advanced usages in social structural functionalism and learning about the inside and outside or the box. The social structural functionalism concepts the simple, basic and advanced usages in social structural functionalism to pertaining to devote the characteristics introducing relations according to the medieval times, abolition times, and modern/millennium times. However, first example covers simple social structural according to the medieval times between BC and AD, meaning before and after Jesus Christ's death, and in the Bible it reads in Isaiah 53:5, "But he was wounded for our transgressions, he was bruised for our iniquities. The chastisement of our peace was upon him, and with his stripes we are healed." Second, basic social structural cover abolition times during 1865 to 1968, organization times, but during the Reconstruction era, our President Abraham Lincoln spoke these words, "But one of them would make war rather than let the nation survive, and the other would accept war rather than let it perish," and the war came. Finally, advanced social structural issues cover 1969 to 2000s, modern/millennium times. Now during 1969 to 1980 life, for Americans were moving forward toward a fast growth of technology. For example, the 5th generation computer systems project FGCS was an initiative by Japan's Ministry of International Trade and Industry, begun in 1982, in which in 1995 Internet changed the lives of America. Now, my concepts of simple social structural, like David Herlihy of Yale University describes the title of The Making of the Medieval Family, Symmetry, Structure, and Sentiment. Across the long centuries of the Middle Ages, households seem to have acquired 3 distinctive characteristics. In the ancient Mediterranean world, judging from the terminology used to describe them and from the failure to use them as units in social surveys, it appears that households were not commensurable. From the Carolingian age, however, medieval households do appear as commensurable units within a symmetrical array. In other words, the observer, or surveyor, was likely to see roughly the same kind of household no matter in what direction he looked, toward urban or rural areas, or up or down the social scale. From about the 12th century, a new form of descent group, the Anatic lineage, comes to be superimposed upon, but does not really replace, the older bilineal kin group. This lends the medieval household, at least in the elite classes, a distinctive structure. Across the Central and late Middle Ages, particular forms of emotional bonds come to link the household members. In fostering these 3 developments, religious laws and values were highly influential, although never solely determinant. However, in the Bible the symmetry starts in Book of Genesis through Revelation of the Bible. Its symmetry of the people and their time are similar intellectual growth among them without major inventures like modern technology. In addition, the family structural remain steady in the same direction for all family concerning spiritual advice and direction. Besides, I had investigation like David Herlihy had about the sentiment of these people in medieval times. I felt a sense for a heavy concern about the attitude they had toward something, giving their regards and opinion to ethics evaluation. In addition, Their mental feeling had impact me emotional for a sentiment of pity of their imagination and like modern times family. Besides, I refined that their tender emotion for manifestations of the higher or more refined feelings were only to their religion beliefs that shaped their ability to allow them to be well brought up, and properly trained and educated in religion. Next, my concepts of basic social structural was the first steps in organizing America, in which consist in providing justification to why blacks were free. America had to slow progress toward equality, in which took years to achieve. In addition, to ease the tension between blacks and the majority, the Jim Crow laws like craniologists, eugenicists, phrenologists, and social Darwinists, at every educational level, buttressed the belief that blacks were innately intellectually and culturally inferior to whites. In addition, the America Organization had organized the movement for change in America from the way they did business. The adaptation for change was hard on the whites during basic social structural to survive after slavery market ended. It was a trade market that whites had earned money for a living to take care of their families, and when the slavery trade market ended, the loss was so drastic to whites that they had thought to keep a trade market that was abolition in America. The slavery trade market affected Americans and their family terribly like the recession affects us today. People become distressed behind the loss of their businesses and the change for the economy that they express their emotions to the government. In addition, the reason why our United States President Obama H. Barack provided the Americans with the stimulation packages to move the economy forward, in which everyone up to date has an opinion about the stimulus package. Besides, the stimulus was given to the American people so to ease Americans' anxiety left by the recession mingling in our depressed society, in which was caused by economy declination. To the advance social structural isn't like anything that we have heard about before. The magnitude of advance social structural details example of moral greatness and magnitude of mind founded in social structural functionalism in today's world. In addition, the modern and millennium change radiated its greatness of time in a matter of functional development in human development, for advancement was like internet history that lead to these research efforts included those of the laboratories of Donald Davies NPL, Paul Barron, Rand Corporation, and Leonard Kleinrock at MIT and at UCLA. Moreover, the Internet will provide information and resources for a generation to come like in the history of medieval times, abolition times and modern/millennium times to the generation after me. These knowledge of power should provide them with not only a history of the social structural functionalism but influence their mind toward educational growth to continue the study of selective socialism. In judging the history and current mention in this lecture identified how social characteristics were developed and practiced. Besides, religion would always have its role in the final social structural in years to come, because like the years of learning and studying the medieval through current time Christianity skills impact a conclusion in social development. To sum up this lecture, I have learned the habits among people in medieval times, organization times, and modern/millennium times. Each of these structural were introduced to recognized social structural in how people interact through the times. However, my most interests were the modern/millennium times, because in my opinion it had reshaped all Americans, especially on religion issues. where religions are practiced to identified culture of another